Yes.
Okay. Okay, guys, let us start. You can see the screen, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Now, these are the methods which we have already done, and just to revise them, length function returns the length of the string. If it is apple, it will return 5. Although the indexes are actually going to be 0 to 4, the length is 5. Carat is actually given an integer value, and it actually returns a character present on that location. Remember, it is char, not a string. Index of, basically we give it a char, and it gives me the position of that char. Index of has another version which we did some other time, which is index of, and we also pass it a string. So it will give me the position of the first character of the string if the string is found. And similarly, the last index of also has another version which is also with string. Okay, so all of these are returning an int, that means the position of the first or the last characters, and it also returns a -1 in case it is not found. So this is something which we need to understand. Substring, basically this is starting from this particular index up to the end of the string. The entire string will be extracted, and the second one is starting from this one, the begin index, and ending before end index, that is to be remembered. So if you want a character out from a particular string, you will use you will use carat. But if you want a string from a string, then you will use substring. Okay, these are the other methods that we are going to do today. We'll start off with the simple ones. The first one is the trim function. Okay, trim function. Trim function basically returns, for example, if I have a string s which contains some spaces in the beginning and we have written apple in it and some spaces at the end. Suppose the word is apple space mango. Okay, so you can see there are spaces in the beginning of the string, there are spaces at the end of the string, and there are spaces in the middle of the string. Now if I want to remove the spaces from the beginning and the end, we will use the trim function. So the function used is called as trim function. So if I use s.trim, this is going to return to me the string containing this apple mango. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
So
Okay.
please repeat
Yes,
again.
sir.
Sir, please
Okay.
repeat.
Okay. So if string s contains a string containing spaces from in the beginning of the string and spaces at the end of the string, and you want to remove these beginning and end wala spaces, if you want to remove them, you will use something called as s.trim function. You will use trim function. So trim function will take no arguments, and it basically will remove the spaces on the from the beginning and the end, and it will not touch anything in between.
Okay, sir.
Okay, all right. Now please remember one thing, that just a second. Okay, now please remember, if I just write these two statements, string s is equal to so and so and s dot trim, and if I write system dot out dot println s, will it display this one, the first one, or will it display the second one?
So the
Sir, the
second
Sir,
second
the
one.
one.
second one.
Second
The
one.
first one. The first one.
So first one.
First one.
Sir,
Now
because
please
we have not stored in anything, sir.
yes, we have not stored in anything. So this is very, very, very important for you to understand that this trim function does not trim the string. It will return a string which is actually trimmed. and unless and until I store it back into S, S is not going to change. Am I clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
But
Yes,
when
sir.
we are
Yes.
calling that function, won't the S object store the second value?
No, no, S will not store, S will not be trimmed if I just do this. So what is it going to do? It is going to return this, and unless and until I store this somewhere, I will not be able to use the trimmed version. So if you want to change a particular string, please use this kind of a statement. Either you store it into the same string object, or you create another one. So you say string t is equal to so and so, and when I display t, it is going to display the second one now. Make sense?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So none of these, for example, what are the functions which are returning string? Substring is returning a string. So that means if I write s dot substring 2 comma 4, does this mean that this s string contains only 3 characters now? 2 characters,
No.
2 and 3? No.
No.
It still contains the original string only, unless and until I store it somewhere. If I say s is equal to s dot substring, now s will contain only 2 characters. Does it make sense? Because this is the
Yes.
problem which people face. Righto? Right.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
The next method is to uppercase. Now to uppercase function, if I write s is equal to s dot to uppercase function, to lowercase function now. So s suppose contains biology. All right. So if I say s is equal to s dot to lowercase, s2 lowercase function will actually convert the entire string into lowercase. So when I display s, s is now going to contain everything in lowercase. All right. We'll go on to the next one. These are simple ones, so I will not take much time to do this. The next function is to uppercase. Okay, so to uppercase, this will convert the entire string to uppercase. So that means the entire string is going to be converted to uppercase. And remember, what I've done is I have used the method and I've stored the value back into the same string that I started from. So naturally s will contain the changed value. Okay, the next method, I'm just going to go through all these. Concat method. Concat method. For example, if I have uh, say string A is equal to apple, and string B is equal to mango, and if I have another string, say string C is equal to A dot concat B. Okay, so what will happen here is that A and B will be concatenated, and what will be actually stored in C is going to be apple mango. Make sense, guys?
Sir, if we use b dot concat, then in brackets write a.
It will be mango apple. So that means this is going to be,
Okay.
yeah, this is going to be the first one, this is going to be the second one. This, you know, that this also could have been written as this is equal to A plus B. And add concatenate
Yes.
two strings by using a plus also, isn't it? We do
Yes,
it
sir.
this way.
So, sir,
We
why
do.
are we using that concatenate?
This is the library method that is inbuilt into string. If you want to use it, you use it. There
Okay.
is no difference between A dot concat B and C is equal to A plus B. So both of them work the same way. Righto?
Yes,
Sometimes,
sir.
Yes, sir.
sometimes there is a question which comes something like use library functions to do this. So if it is given that you have to join two strings and you have to use library functions, then you can, although you know that you can use this, you will not use this. You will use the concat function. So what is the word that the board uses? They say use library methods to do it. Spelling of library is this. Okay. All right. These four methods we have done. I'll use the simpler ones first and then go to the complicated ones. Okay, so I'll do the replace first. Replace function, a very dangerous method. Okay, so use it sparingly. Replace basically is used to replace a character or string with another string in a particular. For example, I have a string A is equal to Chandigarh, and I want to replace all the A's in Chandigarh with O, maybe to make it sound a little Bengalish. Any Bengali among us? No. All right. So what will I write? I will say A is going to be replaced by O. Okay. So what did I do? I've said A dot replace in brackets A comma O. That means I want to replace all the A's in the string A with O's. So what if I display A, it is going to display Chandigarh. All right, make sense?
Yes, sir.
Any problem?
No, sir.
No. Okay. The next one is starts with. There's another one contains. I have not written that. Okay. The next method is this starts with. All right. I have a string say S which is equal to Anil. I want to find whether this S starts with Anil or not. Okay, whether it starts with Anil or not. So what will I write? I'll say Boolean, say B is equal to S dot starts with in brackets Anil. All right. So what do you think B is going to contain? True.
True.
Right. True. Why? Because actually string S actually starts with Anil. But if I had written say Akhil here, what would be the result?
False.
False.
All right. How do we use this starts with or ends with? We just simply say if S dot starts with Anil, you do a task, whatever task you need to perform. Okay, so you normally use it this way. Yes, beta?
If we say A, then it will show true.
A, yes, of course, A will also be true because it is starting with A. A N
Okay.
also will be true. A and I will also be true. Okay, right. Although both of them are starting with A, but both of them are not actually starting with Akhil. This is not Akhil, so it will return a false. So how do you use starts with is using if statement or something like that. The second one is similar to starts with, it actually is ends with. All right, so we are going to use now ends with. All right, so I want to find whether it is actually ending with Sharma. So this is going to return a true. Why? Because it is starts with, okay, and ends with. All right, guys, so remember the spelling. It is ends with or starts with. There is an S there in between. Okay, be very sure about that. All right, next is contains. I want to find out whether a particular string contains another string. It is actually string, not char. All right, so how do I check? So basically contains returns a boolean, you know that. So basically what we are going to do is I'm going to take a string, say S is equal to, yeah, Chandigarh only, don't worry. And I want to find whether Chandigarh contains a word hand over there. Okay, so how will I check? I'll say boolean b is equal to s dot contains and please remember, contains uses only a string in the in this particular in this method. Okay, so how are we going to use it? Basically, we'll use something like if s dot contains hand, then do something. Okay, make sense? So contains basically tells me whether a string contains something or not. So I think we are slowly and steadily getting answers to whatever questions do I have. For example, I want to find out whether a string is starting with a particular string or not. I know which method to use. I want to know whether a string contains some string or not. I know which method to use. All right. Okay. Next one is value of. Value of. String dot value of कैसे use करते हैं? I'll tell you. Suppose I have a float value. Say float f is equal to 3.969. 3.969. And I want to store this float as a string. A simple way of doing it is string s is equal to f plus a blank string. Okay, add anything with a blank string will automatically give me a string, and it is going to result in a string 3.969. Make sense? Library method now. Library method.
Sir, due to order of precedence, it is happening.
No. This is how strings behave. If anything is added to a string, it becomes a string.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay.
Yes, beta.
So please explain this function once again.
This is a normal procedure. This is a normal procedure. For example, if I have an int m value which is 106, and I say system dot out dot println the sum is plus m. What do you think it displays?
The sum is 106.
The sum is 106.
106. Why does this happen? Is because this int is added to this particular string, and when it is added, it actually becomes, the whole string actually becomes the sum is 106. Don't you think so? And that is what is being displayed. This is something which you have been using all the time now.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
What I did was the same. I have added a float to a string. I could have said string plus f. This is the same, isn't it? All right. Next, how do I use value of? Now let me tell you this. So the same thing, this statement can be used using library functions, saying string s is equal to string dot value of in brackets f.
Sir, string dot value f.
String dot value of, yes, not anything else. String dot value of. All right. So we will write string dot value of so and so. So it is going to give me the f as a string. So naturally it is going to give me 3.969, whatever it is. Righto? Now,
Not able to understand.
Not able to understand what?
Sir, how this function works.
Okay.
Sir, is it
is it a? Yes, Gurasis?
static method?
Yes, of course, it is a static method.
Is that the value of a static method?
No, yeah, it must be a static method. Okay, this is
because we are calling with the
yes, because we are calling it using the class name. So value of is a static method. Righto? Okay, I'll just explain. Now, if I say s is equal to string dot value of 106. Now 106 is an int. Okay, so what is it actually going to result in? It is going to result in 106 as a string. So that means the value of function basically takes various arguments, and I have written over there all types, all numeric types. I should write all numeric types. So all numeric types are actually used in value of function. So okay, so that means you can use a value of a long, value of a short, value of a double, value of a float, whatever. So it is actually going to convert it into a string. Make sense?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now I'm going to start off with.
Sir,
Yes, beta.
sir, we can also say that it typecasts the int into the string value.
Typecast means
Sir, changing of the data types.
when I say typecast, I do it something like this. And you cannot typecast.
Sir, but this is explicit typecasting. I mean to say the typecasting performed by the computer itself.
No. No. Implicit typecasting will not be done if you write s is equal to 106. Where s is a string object and 106 is an int value, it will not pass it. Cannot.
Okay.
Okay. So this cannot be done. All right. We'll revise all these. Don't worry. It's 23.
Sir,
Yes, beta.
sir, please explain that compare to.
Compared to, I have not explained.
Okay, sir, I thought I got disconnected and you have done this topic.
No, we have not. We have done all these. These are the 4 functions which are left out right now. Okay, I'll start off with one of them. I'll start off with equals, and you can see equals and equals ignore case, they both of them return a boolean. Which other method returns a boolean? You can say starts with and returns a boolean,
Yes.
ends returns a boolean, contains returns. Yes, so right. Now you need to remember all these. There are 21 of them, and I may have missed one or two of them. I think they are all here. Okay, now equals function. I'll start off with equals function, then I'll revise all these methods with you again, and tomorrow we are going to do equals ignore case and compare to. Compare to is a little complicated, so we'll do it tomorrow, not today. Okay, so equals and equals ignore case I need to do. For example, now if I have a string A which is equal to apple, and I have another string B is equal to apple, I want to find out whether A and B are the same. So normally we write A is equal to B. Don't you think so? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, normally we do it this way, but please remember the operators, the comparison operators, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, all 6 of them can be used only with data. Okay, the equal to, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, not equal to, all of them will only use primitive data. So please do not use these methods if you are actually comparing objects or composite type. All right, for composite type, for strings now, for example, if I need to compare 2 strings, how am I going to compare 2 strings? I am going to compare them using dot equals function. Equals, that has an s at the end. So I'll use a dot equals b. So all right, what do you think it is going to do? Do this or do that?
Do this.
do this
Sir, do this.
because both the strings are exactly the same. All right, both the strings are exactly
Excuse,
the
sir.
Sir, is there any difference if the A
Sir,
is
spaces will
capital or
counted.
it is smaller?
Yes, if there is a matter. Somebody had another question. Suppose I have apple like this. ठीक है? So यहाँ पे ध्यान रखो that the case matters. Okay? Case does matter. So if I have two strings like this, one with the capital A, one with a small a dot equals b is going to return false because both the strings are not exactly the same. They need to be exactly the same. The case also exactly the same. So this is actually going to perform the do that operation. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now let me explain to you what happens when you use double equal to. So if I use if A is equal to B, if I use this in the strings, what does it actually try to do is it actually compares the references of the two objects. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. You know that when I create A is equal to apple, A will contain the address of the object apple. And here B is going to contain the address of this apple. And when I say if A is equal to B, when I do this, it is actually going to compare the addresses of the two. If the addresses are exactly the same, it will say yes, which is not okay with us. I am not going to compare two references, two addresses. I want to compare two values. Make sense, everybody?
Yes, sir.
So what is the
Yes.
difference between the two?
Difference between what and what?
So the double equals to an A dot equals.
When I use A dot equals, it is actually comparing the data. Compares the strings. And when I do this, it compares the two references, the two addresses. So what is actually that we want? We actually want to compare strings. So we do this. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
All
Excuse
right.
me,
Yes, beta.
sir. Can you please explain once again, sir? Still not understood.
Okay. All right. These are the two strings that I'm talking about. Both contain apple, exactly the same cases, exactly the same letters. And I told you that we are not going to use the comparison operators here because the comparison operators basically are used for comparing primitive data, that is byte, short, int, long, float, double char, and boolean, all those 8 types. That's all, only those. For objects we don't use these operators. So what would we use for strings then? For strings, to compare two string objects for equality, we use dot equals. So that means when I say A dot equals B, actually I want to say A is equal to B, but I cannot write A is equal to B. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when I write A dot equals B, actually I want to use A equal to B. So what is it actually going to do? A dot equals B will return a true if both the strings are exactly the same. That means the case matters. Okay, so if the case of their case is a little different, for example, this is small a, it will actually be returning false and it will perform do that, not do this. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My question for you, I'll do the revision. My question for you guys, and you are going to tell me tomorrow. Don't you think if I write A is equal to apple and B is equal to apple, and it uses the string pool, don't you think A and B references would be the same?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Yes.
References would be different, but address will.
Address, yeah, absolutely. The references are different, but the addresses would be the same. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So if I write A is equal to B, don't you think this will also work?
Yes, sir.
Yes, na? So tell me by tomorrow, why will I still not use A is equal to B and I will prefer A dot equals B?
Sir, because we have to use mathematical library.
No problem. Still, don't worry about the library. Tell
Sir,
me.
because strings are
So before
static.
that, is not primitive
No,
data types.
no. Who is the other one who said something? Another girl said something. Why will I not use A is equal to B when both the addresses are the same? If A contains address 101, B also contains 101, naturally it will be true.
Sir, it will, I think it will work with 101.
No. Try
Sir,
to do
So
this.
if the object is made using the new keyword, then the references will be different.
Ah, yes. Who is that? Who is that? Anusha. Anusha. Okay. Okay, she has given me the answer. For example, if I had created this using new string apple. Now, don't you think both the addresses will be different now, although the objects are the same? All right.
Yes, address will be
Yes,
different.
sir.
Because we are using new string, the object will be created outside the pool will have a different address now. Although both of them have contain apple, but this apple is outside the pool and this apple is inside the pool. So this will never work there. So just to make sure that always it works, doesn't matter whether it is created with new string or whether it is simply done with equal to, this is always going to work because it is always going to compare apple with apple, not address with address. Okay. So we'll stop here and let me just do a quick revision. What we did today was, first of all, the trim function basically trims the leading and trailing spaces, but it never touches the spaces inside the string. Next is while to lowercase converts the entire string to lowercase. To uppercase function converts the entire string into uppercase. Okay, concat is used to join two strings just like you do here. Replace will replace a character with a character or a string with a string. So we'll do that tomorrow. Starts with tells me true or false whether the string starts with this or not. Next is ends with tells me whether the string actually ends with this string or not. Contains tells me whether the string contains
Excuse
this
me, sir.
string or not. Yes, beta.
Sir, in the ends with function, for example, you have given the word Anil Sharma, and in this, if you write S dot ends with, and then we write capital S, and then like we write Sharma with a capital S. So will that result into what will that do then?
It will result in false. This ends with starts with actually have another version of it which is ends with ignore case, just like we have equals ignore case, and we'll do that tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so thank you for reminding me. All right, contains has been done. Value of is simple. Value of will take any numeric argument and it has to be used with string dot so and so. So when I say string dot value of f, it will actually return the string value of that. Okay. Next is dot equals. Dot equals actually compares two strings for equality, and case matters. Okay. All right, this is 11:35. We'll stop here now and we'll meet again tomorrow. I may have a small test ready for you, just like we have a 5-minute test. Okay, just to check whether you know things.